Okay, welcome to Supernatural Signals, My Haunted Journal edition. If you're new here, this is where I do updates on the channel, discuss what's going on with me, discuss what's going on specifically with my supernatural life. So I do updates on just my personal life, but I mostly focus it on the supernatural. I also just talk about shows I'm watching and just daily updates that are going on with me. So, with that said, I'll just jump right into it. So this week there has been some updates to the channel. Like I said, if people can't tell, I experiment a lot on my channel, but I'm starting to do shorts. I didn't really know what I wanted to do with the shorts, like just do clips of my YouTube videos, but I think for right now, I'm going to do mini episodes where there's a concept that I like want to talk about, but I don't really feel like it's going to be good for a full investigative video. So I think I'm going to try and do a few of those mixed in whenever, and just have like little short clips, just a concept that I find interesting, but there's just not a lot of information out there to kind of elaborate too much on. So I'm calling them mini mysteries. So just if you're new here as well, I have kind of a deep dives or investigative videos that I work on. Those are like my main content. Then I do these haunted journal updates, and then I'm going to stick with these mini mysteries that will be the shorts. So those are like the three main type of videos that will be on my channel. But right now I want to hop into sorry. I want to hop into channel updates. Besides that, I did get some new software that's allowing me to work more. I have just been working on a little Surface Pro that is not meant for like big editing and not meant for much besides, streaming things and stuff and like, minimal things. So it's been kind of rough editing and things like that. So I definitely got new software, and I am not the best at that stuff, but I'm learning on it. So that's what I'm doing. So my last video still, I was using my little surf. It was so bad. Like, like every time I try to edit things, it would just glitch, and it would take me forever just to make a, 10-15 minute video. So hopefully I can get this going at a better pace, but I'm still gonna, uh, work on that. And then it is a laptop where I can actually do games, video games, and I haven't played video games in forever. I don't know anything about video games. Neither does my boyfriend, but we wanted to find like new activities to do, just like we're hanging around in the house. And so that's another reason we upgraded our software and everything. So I might do some streaming content. Not live or anything like that, but I might like just record it and post some clips of me and him playing, just for fun. But he's not going to be talking on it just because I mentioned before he's private, but he'll be probably in the background yapping to me, and I'll just cut that part out or try and not put his noise on there, his voice on there. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, other than that, as far as supernatural stuff that's been going on, there has been, but I'm not really like nothing major in the sense of like, oh my God, this happened. But Buddy, my dog, who we found and adopted, or I guess he found us, um, um, has always, like, I've been saying this, he said, I could just tell, like, he has a very intuitive, keen sense. And yesterday I put on my threads that, like, every time when we watch, because Kermie and I, after we like watch a movie or something like that, we like to put on things like Ghost Adventures just to like have in the background while we're getting ready for bed and like falling asleep. And Buddy was like half asleep, like, or actually deep asleep. And as soon as we always put on that show, I swear he gets up and he starts pacing and he starts coming to me like something's wrong. And then I turn it off and then he'll go back and fall right back asleep. And with everything else going on, he's still doing the weird, like, he'll stare outside and will not go outside. Like, do you need to go potty? He will not budge. Like, it could be midday, it could be night. There are just some days that he just will refuse to go outside. And it could be anyone, like Kermie, me, like anyone that like knows him really well. Like he just won't go at certain times of day. Um, so yeah, and he's still been very like certain times to like stare like really quickly at something at the wall in my room. He gets scared at night in the living room, so he'll like come into my room and like curl up. It's just I know he senses stuff. But other than that, the one thing that was kind of weird that wasn't buddy adjacent was I was in my room and attached to my room is an attached restroom. And like there's like a hallway with my closet and then and then attached there is a bathroom area. So it's not a long hallway. It's very short. And I was in my bedroom and both Buddy and Kitty were with me, and all of a sudden, like, I had this bathroom cleaner and it just like fell. And like, I wasn't touching it. I wasn't in there. I wasn't doing anything to mess with it. It just like fell on its own. It's always been sitting there. So you could say like like the bathroom is very enclosed. It doesn't have any windows by it. It doesn't have any like there's like no like gust of wind or anything like that. And that's the only other thing that has been kind of like, what the heck was this? And I put in another haunted journal a while back about how Buddy and Kitty always have like weird senses in the bathroom area, especially. Like for some reason, Buddy always like, I don't know, senses weird. And then I also mentioned that there was noise coming from that bathroom area, like in some of my earlier haunted journal videos. So I don't know if it has to do with that. Again, it could have just fell over by itself, but it was heavy. It was like it's almost a full bottle, and it's been sitting there for a while, and it just plunked over. And so yeah, that's basically all my supernatural updates. I know it's not much, but it's kind of like been little bits so much that, and then like my brain's been a little foggy just because I've been working on stuff. And so it's like I'll remember things and I'm like, oh, I need to put that in the haunted journal, and then I forget about it. So, but that's kind of like the main like where we're at updated. So yeah, so that's what's been going on haunted journal wise. But the other thing I wanted to kind of talk about, and like I said, sometimes I just rattle off of whatever's on my mind about supernatural things, is that I recently, like I said, made a short about the Green Children of Woolpit. And if you haven't seen it, it's 3 minutes if you want to go watch it. It's the only videos I think I have public on my shorts. And it's basically kind of talks about how these kids in the 12th century appear and they're green and they adapt in this new world that they don't really understand, and the people don't understand them. And then one of the kids dies, the brother, and then the girl, continues her life there, but she's still a little, I don't know, I guess different than the rest, but she adapts the best she can. And it started to make me think about other things, because in the story, the reason they end up in the English town in Woolpit, away from their home, is because they hear like this sound and they follow these animals, but they hear this like bell sound that kind of like, I guess, put them in a trance that made them go into this other world, essentially, right? And it made me start thinking about like my own experiences. And I remember when I was a kid and I was young, I probably was around 10. And I was at this fair. I don't remember what it was. I don't think it was like a huge fair, but it was a pretty big, like a Texas State Fair or something like that. And I went with my mom and my sisters. And during it, I remember looking at lights, and I just was like drawn to these lights as a kid. Okay, remember, I was still probably in elementary school, and I just kept walking towards these lights, and I just got entranced by it. And I don't remember what happened next, but all I remember is like I don't know how long it was, honestly, but my mom comes and all these people come running up and they're like, "Where were you? Blah, blah, blah. Oh my God." Like I was lost for hours. Now I don't remember how long I was lost. And my mom passed away, so I can't ask her, but it seemed like it was a long time. So it was one of those things where like it was like, but for me, it was like 30 seconds. Like, so I don't know, and I don't remember anything. All I remember is I was seeing carnival lights or whatever, fair lights, and I was staring at it and I was just like drawn to it, like hardcore. And then all of a sudden, like people were like, "We were looking for you," da da da. Like I don't know, and I don't. Watching that story, it just reminded me of it, and it was just like one of those stories that I was just like, "Well, that was weird." You know, you're a kid, so you see the world differently. Time's different for you, and everything like that, but. I don't know. I just wanted to share that story because I don't know, maybe it was a glitch, but it just kind of reminded me of like how being like in a trance where you're just like, who knows what happens when you're doing that, but it's definitely a story that I always thought of, but it just never I just always thought there was a plausible explanation, but now I'm thinking more deep into it after I had my own experience with the supernatural. So, I don't know, I just wanted to document that for shits and giggles. But yeah, and I also think it's interesting with that story with the wool pit is how like the girl like even though she like adapted to their lives, like she's always was a little, I guess they said, you know, different, I guess is the polite word, but I guess like unruly and kind of like had her own, followed her own rules or whatever and things like that. And I do think it's kind of interesting because it's like imagine being like in a whole different universe and a whole different world and having to adapt to rules that aren't really yours, It's I don't know. They always say, "Oh, she's so weird," but you don't look at the perspective of the little girl coming in and saying like, "Well, y'all are the weird ones, but I can't communicate that with that because it's just me and my brother, right? And we depend on you." So, and they're in a more vulnerable position, right? So, they couldn't really say, "Hey, you're the weirdos," Um, but yeah, so it just kind of made me think about like other dimensions and other worlds that like how like people can view people in different ways, but depending on what you need from them, um, you know, I don't know. It's like you have to adapt to their lives because at that in that universe, they're the higher species, right? Or they're the higher totem, so you have to adapt to that appropriately, right? Um, and it's like, but if the other way around, I wonder see how the other people would adapt to it, you know what I mean? So I don't know. I just found it kind of interesting and unique to watch, but and also it is interesting of how people can adapt in general in different situations, but that's for another topic. Okay, I know this video is kind of random and short, but and I don't know if you can hear my cat, she is snoring. But I just wanted to document that. Like I said, I was thinking about making that video longer and kind of going into it, but there wasn't a lot of information on the case, so I just wanted to put my thoughts on that there, which I would normally put in my theory section, but just felt like I would express it here of kind of how I felt about that. But if you've ever had an experience like that where you kind of like went in a trance, I had another experience like that as well, where kind of the start of my whole supernatural influx happened a few years back, which I talked many times on this series, my Haunted Journal series. But if you're new here, I had an influx of activity a few years back, and ever since then, I've been a huge supernatural investigator, I guess is the right word, or in tuned with it. And I remember one time I was getting my hair cut and I was kind of like in this like high of like getting used to the universe and like finding out all these things about the universe and getting in touch with it. So it was kind of like, I don't want to say manic is the right word, but I was just feeling not like my normal self at that time. And so I went to go get my hair cut and I was doing exercise classes and I was very big on like the exercise place made it very clear they didn't like you to be late for the classes because it slows down for the other people and it was like a small group. And so I was like, okay, I want to get my hair cut and then I'll go to my exercise class. And I was kind of worried about like the timing. And so the guy that was doing my hair, he kept talking to me, he was talking to me, talking to me, talking to me. And I kept looking at the time, and it was kind of like running late. I think we had like 15 more minutes before I had to leave to make it in time for my class. And and I might be missing some details, but it's been a while and a lot of shit has happened since then. But so bear with me. And so all of a sudden, like during it, like I kind of like he starts talking to me, and then I kind of get in this trance. I don't know how to explain it. And like like when you zone out, it was like that, but very intense, right? And so like afterwards I was like, oh my God. And he kept going and going and doing all these things. And I'm like, what is he even cutting? I remember saying that in my head. I'm like, is he just cutting the same piece of hair? Like, I don't know what he's doing. Like, this shouldn't take this long, right? But then I kind of like just zoned out, and I was like, oh my God, it must be like 30 minutes into my class already. And I go look at the time, and the time is like, oh, I have plenty of time to get there. I went paid, and then I had like, I was walking, the area I used to live in was a very walkable area. And I was like, okay, bye. And I had plenty of time to get to my class, got there on time. Um, like I wasn't like super early, but I perfectly time. And I don't know. Again, that was like one of my first like, okay, this universe thing is really weird. And I don't know, just that wool pit story kind of reminded me of both of those stories, what I had as a kid and the one as an adult a few years back. And so again, if you have any stories like that where you kind of like, I don't know, zoned out or like feel like you were missing some times, please share it with me so I don't feel alone. But yeah, I know I just kind of hopped in that story, but I just had the thought came into my head and I shared that. So sorry about that. That's what I do. But anyway, I'm going to make this video short. I hope everyone's doing well and enjoying themselves and ready to have a good Thanksgiving. If you're, enjoying it, if you're doing it if you're having Thanksgiving alone, please don't feel bad. I have had many of those, and what I do is I usually order Chinese food in those cases and cuddle my babies, my animals, and put on a good show. So don't feel bad. Find something on the internet to watch, YouTube. That's what it's there for. Um and if you're with family and family's difficult, get drunk. I don't know. All right. Other than that, I hope everyone's having a great weekend and have a great upcoming this week. And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, then get drunk anyway. I'm just kidding. All right. Bye. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned in the supernatural. Thanks for watching. Bye.